All right, guys. So today we're gonna go over simplifying complex numbers just in different ways. Okay. So first one is just gonna be pretty easy, and this is how we went ahead and work on the ones in class. So if you were not in class, this is how you're gonna be working this type of problems. First things first, the first four. So let me go ahead and close this, open this up. So the first four problems that you're gonna see here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna work through them by combining like terms. So 1, 2, oh, why did I put 3? Crazy. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the first four are basically just going to be focusing on combining like terms. So I'm going to do the hardest one and try and explain what's going on here. Okay, so first thing, we have to simplify the number 4. The main reason why we need to simplify number 4 is because we have this 5 and this 3 that has to distribute inside of the parentheses. So let's go ahead and do that. Should be relatively easy. Let's go ahead and pick blue. So I'm going to multiply 5 times 3, which in this case is 15. Pretty easy. And then you're going to have to go ahead and multiply 5 times negative 2, which is going to be negative 10i. Okay, pretty easy, right? Now let's go ahead and do the other one. Again, 3 times negative 2, negative 6. And then the 3 times 9, which is going to be 27i. Okay, so we have everything that we need. All that we need to do at this point is combine like terms. And guess what? I was already thinking ahead. And my blues are going to combine with the blues, and my reds are going to combine with my reds. So that should be making it a lot easier. And the reason why we're combining like terms is because of this guy right here. That plus is going to tell us that we need to combine like terms. If I didn't have it, then I would have to do the FOIL method in order to solve for the problem. But in this case, we don't have to do that, so it should be relatively easy what we needed to do. So it's just going to be 15. So 1, 5, minus 6. And the reason why I'm subtracting is because they're different signs. So that's going to give me a 9. So my first number is a 9. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the other one, which is going to be 10 and 27. They're different signs, so I subtract them. So 27i minus 10i. It is going to be positive because the biggest one is 27. 17i. Okay, pretty easy. So far, so good. That's the first thing. That's the first section, I mean. And that is my answer. That is it. It's 9 plus 17i. And you can even check your answers over here. So let's see which one says that. My answer is this one. All right. So you can check your answers with the squares on the side. So that way you can check if you did it right or wrong. All right. That's the first, right? That's how you're going to do the first set of problems. Now let's go over how you're going to be working some of the other problems here. So copy that work. That way you can have it. I would highly recommend you guys do the work on a different sheet of paper, mainly because it's going to get kind of crowded. I write pretty big, so yeah, I would write on a different sheet of paper. But, I mean, you still have to show your work regardless. So, and if anything, this might be digital if you don't have it with you, or if you're watching this online because you're not in class. Yeah, then definitely you're going to have to write on a different piece of paper and show me the work. So let's start with this one. Now, after the first four, the rest for this one are going to be, all the way down to this one, okay? All the way down are going to be done exactly the same way. First things first, we're going to have to look at this problem first. So 7 all the way down are going to be done exactly the same way. So let's do the first couple one because they're slightly different. This one are the easy ones. So I'm just going to multiply those two. That gives me 24i squared. Now, if you remember from the previous the previous video from yesterday, dividing one, I highly recommend you guys do that one first because this one's going to help you out whenever we do the dividing over here. that you have to change the conjugate. Actually, I'm not even going to go over the conjugate because that one's already covers it, so I don't want to kind of be redundant here. All right, so we have everything here. Now we're just going to go ahead and cancel this one out. And we just changed the sign of the number that was already there. So it's going to be negative 24. That is it. So every time you have I squared, you're just going to go ahead, cancel it out. And whatever number was in front of it, you're going to change the sign of it. Easy. Now let's go ahead and do the next one. So it's going to be 7 times 2, which is 14i. And then it's going to be 7 times negative I, which is going to be, I believe, negative 7i squared. Just as was mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and cancel the I squared and change the sign of the 7. So it's going to be positive 7 here, and this is going to be 14i. Now, if I wanted to write my answer correctly, I would put the 7 first, and then plus 14i. There we go. You see, a lot of this stuff is really easy. It's just literally just multiplying. There's no division in any of this. Finally, let's get to this bad boy right here. This is going to be how you're going to be doing the rest of the problems for the first column. So let's start. We're going to have to do what we call the FOIL. I'm going to start with a 5. You always start with the first parentheses, the first number, and then you start multiplying to the second parentheses. So 5 times 1 is 5. And then it's going to be 5 times 4i. It's going to be what? Actually, maybe I should do some space because I'm going to have to do the bottom one. Same thing on the bottom. So let me put 5 first. Over here, a little bit down. And then 5 times 4 is 20i. Once you're done with that one, you're going to get the negative I. You're going to multiply with 1. Negative 1i. Just make sure you remember there's an invisible 1 in front of the I. So there we go. That's multiplies of that. And finally, we're going to do negative I times 4i here. So it's going to be negative 4i squared. As I've said it many, many times, we're going to go ahead and cancel out the I squared. And we're going to change the sign of that number. So it's going to be plus 4. And then we have 5 plus 20i minus 1i plus 4. Now I'm going to highlight the 5 here and the 4 because I'm going to be able to combine those two. That's going to be my first part of my answer. So it's going to be 9. And then after that, I'm going to be combining the 20 and the negative 1, which is going to be positive 19i. Okay, pretty easy. That is my answer for that. And we are done. You know what? I am going to be redundant. I have like maybe 2 more minutes just so I can reach the 10-minute mark. So I already kind of explained how to do 1 through, I don't know what that is. We can count them, but I'm not going to count them. It's too much work. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to do one of the problems over here. And I'm actually going to pick one of the hardest problems. This guy right here, I'm going to pick that one. Why? I don't know. I just saw it and it looks something that we're going to have to work on. Whenever you're dividing complex numbers, you always do the conjugate. In this case, my conjugate, I'm going to do the conjugate of the denominator. So it's going to be 3. You never change the first number. Or the real number, you never change it. So this guy never changes. The only thing that you need to change is your imaginary number. It's positive, so I need to make it into a negative. Same thing on top. And all I'm going to do is FOIL method. Okay, I'm going to have to do it 2 times. I'm going to write my answer on the bottom. So I'm going to use all of this space right here. I'm going to start with the top. So let's go ahead and start. 2. We call it coordinate. The first one, then the second one, we just do it. So the first one, you're going to multiply 2 times 3, which is 6. Very nice. And then 2 times I. negative 2i. After that, we're going to get this I right here. Then I times 3. It's going to be negative 3i. And finally, let me pick purple here. I, or negative I times negative I, it's going to be positive I squared. Now remember, there's a 1 in front of the I squared, so technically is plus 1i squared. So I'm going to start with that one. This guy right here, I'm going to cancel it out and it becomes a negative 1. Okay. I have 6 over here, so I'm going to combine them already. 6 minus 1 is 5. Now I'm going to combine this 2 in the middle. So I'm combining those 2 right here. Let me do a different color. I'm combining those 2. And then I'm combining those 2. Negative 3 and negative 3 and then negative, I can't even speak right now. Negative 3 and negative 2 become negative 5. I. Okay, pretty easy. That's the bottom. Okay, actually, that's the top part. Okay, so that's the hardest part. So doing the FOIL part is going to be the hardest. Simplifying, where we simplify everything so we have everything that we need. Second thing that you're going to need after that is go ahead and do the same thing to the bottom. But instead, I'm going to give you guys a little shortcut. So all I want you guys to do when every time that you have the bottom ones, you can do FOIL, but I'm just going to do 3 times 3. And then I times negative I. The reason why I'm doing that is because a lot of stuff cancels out whenever you do the conjugate. So my middle 2 numbers are going to cancel out. So there's no point in me multiplying them together because I already know they're going to cancel out. So 3 times 3 is 9. That becomes negative I squared whenever I multiply I times I. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and, what the heck am I doing? Oh, okay, what the heck? Yeah, that one. That was weird. All right, so let's go here. That will cancel out that one. And that one's going to turn into positive 1. So I have 9 plus 1, which equals 10. And we're done. So we already have everything that we need. So I just need to set it up. So it's going to be 5 minus 5i over 10. Now everything can be divisible by 5. So it's basically going to turn into, let me put it down here. And that's why I'm saying make sure you do it on the paper because it's a lot. 1 minus 1i over 2. Okay, and I'm pretty sure my answer is going to be here somewhere. Maybe. Oh, yeah, there we go. That one right there. The only thing that they did different from us, they separated into 2 different fractions. So we just left it all alone. So that's my answer. All right, so that is it. I'm going to leave this on there. That way you guys can see how you're supposed to do all the work. And make sure you just turn it in whenever you're back. Thank you guys for watching.